Today I'm going to talk about Kenzo Jungle Pour Homme, which is a great woody oriental fragrance that was released in the 90s and in fact was the follow-up to two female perfumes that got released under these series of Jungle by Kenzo, and in my opinion it's one of the most amazing fragrances of the 90s for men, and also the one that epitomizes Kenzo's kind of like rule for me in the 90s. So let's get ahead to Kenzo Jungle. So Kenzo Jungle actually is an experience of kind of like a cloud of dust. Actually, you will smell like dust when you use this perfume, but not like the type of like dirty house that never got clean kind of dust, but more of spice dust actually. And in fact, I think that what they try to imitate, even though the name says jungle, more of a savanna and kind of like herds of zebras and animals, or at least what their PR showed back then in the 90s, which was herds of zebras running in the African savanna, raising kind of like cloud of dust. And I think that what they were aiming for in terms of an experience. And in fact, it was my first, let's say, grown-up perfume ever. I was immediately attracted to it. Back then, I remember walking with my dad in one of those department stores and kind of being revealed into the whole kind of like PR setup that was there for Kenzo Jungle at the time. My mom actually used Kenzo Jungle Elephant, so I'm very familiar with that one. And also the teachers that were around me at school, especially art teachers, I would say, were using Kenzo Jungle Elephant. So in a way, Kenzo Jungle Pour Homme is in a kind of like a direct connection, I would say, to Kenzo Elephant. And you have to say that there were two releases actually for women under Kenzo Jungle series, and one was Kenzo Jungle Elephant and the other one was Kenzo Jungle Tiger, which is now discontinued. But Kenzo Jungle Elephant still exists, and I guess like it's a legend among people who can actually stand it, because it's a very powerful perfume. It's incredible actually, but let's say that Kenzo Jungle Elephant is more heavy on the cinnamon and clove, and it creates something very deep, oriental and earthy, but in a very warm, spicy way. And Kenzo Jungle Pour Homme creates that experience for men, but in a more, I would say, subdued 90s kind of fashion. Now, the 90s, an era where you had a lot of hits, a lot of perfumes that people remember till this day. The one that was ruling the market back then with a minimalist approach was, of course, the Calvin Klein fragrances, but also Kenzo. There were a lot of hits from Kenzo. Kenzo Jungle was definitely one of them, even though you don't hear a lot about it today. It's still kind of a legend. People who knew it know it and still use it. It was difficult to get actually for many years, then they brought it back. You know, it's kind of like things that happen when you have a lot of changes in a fashion house and businesses and trying to enlarge the business or whatever. But to talk about the perfume itself, Kenzo Jungle opens with a burst of cinnamon, lime, and cardamom. And the aspect of dust, which I mentioned in the beginning, is something that kind of like stays in the development of the perfume all along. And in fact, the perfume gives kind of like a feeling of a lot of spices that come up and to the surface, as if you were running in a kind of like an earthy and dusty type of an area. Like if you were running in the savannah and you were crushing some herbs and some trees or whatnot comes your way, and the smell actually comes up and kind of like treats you with a nice warm cloud of dust and a burst of spices. And it does that especially where it kind of like relaxes down to a base of benzoin and sandalwood, and the lime and cardamom somehow they stay there in this whole concoction of the fragrance. It's not a beast mode fragrance, I would say. It's a fragrance that stays close to the body, but people who will come near you will definitely smell it and enjoy it. And in fact, it's a compliment getter for me. And it's also something which I love. I don't like perfumes which are like, hey, I'm here, you know, that fill up the room like quite immediately, and usually they stink. But Kenzo Jungle, I think, is also timeless in that manner, that it smells very elegant and very manly, and it will make you smell like the most beautiful cloud of dust you can ever imagine. And I entice you people to go and get it. And it is something that I would say that if you never smelled it before, it has something very spicy, but not like spicy in the way that it's like over spicy. It's more like we'll treat it kind of like a chai latte, just without the, I don't know, the over clovey aspect of it. There is something definitely which resembles a lactonic effect, but it's not really lactonic. Maybe it comes from the sandalwood base, so you could say it's a bit lactonic, but there is something that the mix of lime and cardamom and cinnamon and this kind of like ambery, very light ambery feeling that creates this trick of dust, and something which is also very Kenzo-ish for me, at least from their great releases in the 90s, that we have Kenzo Dite, and we have Kenzo Elephant, of course, and we have Kenzo Pour Homme. What the Kenzo fragrances, what they do for females as well, is that when you wear them, they have a tendency to kind of like disappear, but not really. They play with your body temperature, and that's something I've noticed about Kenzo perfumes. In general, it doesn't matter the season, but when your body starts to heat up because you started walking or sweating or just perspiration, they come back. They come back with an oomph. But again, it's not like a strong cloud. It's more like it becomes like a second skin that kind of like envelops you when you walk around, and it's very pleasant to the people who surround you. So Kenzo Jungle Homme, an amazing, amazing fragrance. It smells great. You can get it today. It's not very expensive. Let them know that you want to try it. Buy Kenzo Jungle just so it can keep being in production and I can buy it. But like, it's a great fragrance. And in fact, if you want to smell like nutmeggy dust, this is the one for you. So thank you for spritzing with me. That was all.